Alright, so good luck, have fun, don't die. Directed by Gore Verbinski, starring Sam Rockwell, Juno Temple, Haley Lu Richardson, and Michael Pena, and a few other people you may or may not recognize. This film is about time travel. This film is about the threat of AI. This film is about social media ruining your brains. And most importantly, this film is about very, very dark comedy. Now, I knew nothing about this movie about 2 weeks ago. I saw the trailer. I thought, hey, this looks like a fun time. Little Scott Pilgrim, little Shaun of the Dead. I'm gonna see this movie. So I went in, sat down, and I got a movie that I wasn't really expecting, especially if you've seen the trailer. This trailer made it seem much more high energy, much more Scott Pilgrim-y, much more action. And while there was definitely action scenes in the film, and the few that were there were pretty good, this film is much more of a dark comedy. Now let's start with the acting. Sam Rockwell brings his A game. He plays this very interesting, weird, futuristic time traveler who's done this thing like 100 plus times. He plays the role very well. He understood the assignment, and he did the assignment. And Haley Lu Richardson, I don't really know if I've seen her anywhere. She did great. She actually bounces off of Sam Rockwell's character. And her character is the only character in this film that has any real evolution. Her character is the only one that grows in this film. And while everybody else did a good job, none of them really stood out. They all just came to act, and they did a good job. I also like the overall vibe of this movie. I feel like a broken record, but this has very dark humor. The theater I was in was ready for it. We were all laughing. Some of us were laughing really loud in some scenes. So one of my issues with the film was pacing. And one of the big pacing problems were these cutaway flashbacks that are like character introductions to some of these characters. I didn't necessarily hate the flashbacks themselves. They were pretty good scenes, and I guess they fit in the plot. But man, they just ruined the pacing of this film. For like 10 to 15 minutes, you're watching the main movie, and then you introduce this character, and then you have the flashback cutaway, which is about 15-20 minutes. And then after that, you come back to your movie. It's just too long in the flashback. It feels like they're cutting away to a different movie, and then actually, never mind, we're cutting back to the regular movie. I didn't really like how they handled that. And on top of pacing, this movie was a little too long. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes. Could have been 20 minutes less. And I think those cutaway flashbacks had something to do with it. And something I wanted to bring up is the movie's budget. This movie has a reported $20 million budget. And for about 80% of the movie, they use the budget very, very well. They know to have small sets. They know not to go too crazy on the CGI. They know not to have too many characters at once. But that other 20% where they do go for it, they have the CGI monster, they have the CGI set piece in the end, that extra 20% really doesn't look that good. The CGI kind of falls apart. The set piece doesn't really look as grandiose as they want it to look. And you can obviously tell, like, yeah, they are stretching their budget a little too far in some scenes. And I'm going to get into semi-spoiler territory. I'm not going to ruin it for you. But the ending of this film is not really satisfying. I don't necessarily hate the ending. It's just not a complete ending. It doesn't really wrap up the story being told in this film. I don't hate the ending, and I don't love it either. And that's kind of how I feel about most of this movie. There's lots of scenes where I'm like, I didn't hate that, but something was just a little off. So overall, good luck, have fun, don't die. It is a good time at the movies. I think you should go see it this weekend if you're gonna see a movie. This is definitely the one to see. Acting is pretty dang good. The comedy is very well written, and unfortunately the budget is stretched a little too far and a few too many scenes in this movie. And, of course, the pacing. It's a little off, could be shorter. But overall, I'm gonna give this movie 7 out of 10. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought of it down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to. See you next time.